In the year 1847, in a kingdom surrounded by cold mountains and restless seas, there ruled a man known across distant lands as King Aldric the Unshaken. Merchants whispered his name with respect. Soldiers spoke it with pride. Enemies spoke it with caution. But among his own people he was called something else, the king who feared nothing. From an early age, Aldric had been shaped by hardship. His father, King Rowan, believed that fear was the root of failure. When Aldric fell from a horse at 7 years old and broke his wrist, his father did not comfort him. He simply said, "Stand before the pain stands over you." When the boy hesitated before his first sword duel, his father ordered the match to continue until hesitation left his eyes. By 16, Aldric had learned to hide discomfort. By 20, he had learned to hide doubt. By 30, when the crown finally rested upon his head, he had mastered the art of appearing fearless. And the kingdom prospered under him. Bandits along the northern roads were crushed within weeks. A rebellion in the east ended before it could spread. Taxes were organized, trade expanded, and Valamir's navy grew stronger than ever. When a neighboring ruler attempted to intimidate him with threats of war, Aldric responded with such calm certainty that the threat dissolved without a single sword drawn. To the world, he was iron. Yet iron, when struck repeatedly, carries hidden fractures. Every night, when the grand hall emptied and the torches dimmed to smoke, Aldric walked alone to the highest balcony of his castle. From there, he could see the sea stretching endlessly into darkness. The wind howled freely, untamed and indifferent to crowns. It was there, beneath the open sky, that something unsettled him. He would never admit it aloud, not even to himself in clear words. But the thought lingered like a shadow. What if I lose this? Not the throne alone, not the gold or the banners, but the image, the certainty, the identity of being unshaken. He feared weakness. He feared irrelevance. He feared the day age would slow his body or illness would humble his strength. He feared betrayal, not because it would hurt his power, but because it would expose vulnerability. So he tightened his control. He trusted fewer advisors. He planned further into the future. He trained harder than men half his age. If fear existed, he would outrun it. One autumn afternoon, as crimson leaves fell across the palace courtyard, a lone traveler arrived at the gates. He wore plain robes and carried no weapon, no emblem, no sign of status. He asked only for an audience with the king. The guards laughed at him. The court mocked the request. But when Aldric heard of the man's calm persistence, curiosity stirred within him. "Let him enter," the king ordered. And so, the man who feared nothing prepared to meet the one person who would question everything he believed about strength. The traveler was brought into the great hall without chains, without bowing excessively, and without trembling. His calmness alone unsettled the atmosphere. The marble pillars rose high above him, banners of past victories hanging like silent witnesses. Yet the man's expression did not change. King Aldric studied him from the throne. "You asked to see me," he said evenly. "Few make such requests without wanting gold, protection, or favor. What do you want?" The traveler folded his hands inside his sleeves. "Nothing, Your Majesty." A faint murmur moved through the court. "Nothing," Aldric repeated. "I have come only to ask a question." The king leaned forward slightly. "Speak." The traveler's eyes did not waver. "Are you truly fearless?" The question echoed through the chamber more sharply than a shout. Some of the nobles stiffened, expecting anger. But Aldric merely narrowed his gaze. "I have led armies," the king replied. "I have faced rebellion and famine. I have stood before enemies who wished me dead. If that does not prove fearlessness, what does?" The traveler nodded slowly. "It proves courage. But courage and fearlessness are not the same." Aldric felt something tighten in his chest. "Explain yourself carefully." "Courage," the traveler said calmly, "is acting despite fear. Fearlessness is the absence of fear. Only a fool claims the latter." A faint ripple of discomfort passed through the hall. Aldric rose from his throne, descending the steps until he stood face to face with the traveler. "Do you call me a fool?" "No," the traveler answered gently. I call you human. Silence fell. The traveler continued, lowering his voice so that only those nearest could hear. If you were truly without fear, you would not guard your reputation so fiercely. You would not train beyond exhaustion to prove strength. You would not look at the sea each night wondering what may one day take this from you. Aldric's breath paused. How would you know of that? He demanded. I have seen many rulers, the traveler said. They fear losing power. They fear losing youth. They fear losing control. But the greatest fear of all is losing identity, the image they built to survive. The king's jaw tightened. A ruler must protect his image. Without authority, there is chaos. Authority built on image is fragile, the traveler replied. Authority built on understanding is unshakable. Aldric turned away, pacing slowly across the polished stone floor. No one dared interrupt. What would you have me do? He asked at last. The traveler answered simply, face what you avoid, not enemies, not storms. Face the possibility that one day you will lose everything, and remain at peace. The words settled heavily in the air. For the first time in many years, the man known as the king who feared nothing felt something unfamiliar. Not fear of war, nor fear of defeat, but fear of looking inward. And that frightened him more than any battlefield ever had. That night, Aldric did not summon guards. He did not call advisors. He dismissed the court early and returned alone to the balcony overlooking the endless sea. The wind was stronger than usual, cold and unapologetic. It pushed against him as if testing his balance. For years, he had stood there trying to silence the quiet questions in his mind. But this time he did not resist them. He allowed the thoughts to come. One day you will grow old. One day you may fall ill. One day this crown will rest on another head. His chest tightened, but he did not turn away. He let the fear rise fully, without burying it beneath discipline or pride. And as the minutes passed, something unexpected happened. The fear did not destroy him. It moved through him like the wind itself, strong but temporary. For the first time in his life, Aldric understood that strength was not built by denying fear, but by accepting it. Control had been his shield, but acceptance became his freedom. He realized that a king is not powerful because nothing can be taken from him. A king is powerful because even if everything is taken, he remains steady within himself. In the months that followed, his rule changed. He listened more. He reacted less. He ruled not from the need to appear unbreakable, but from the calm of self-mastery. And though history once called him the king who feared nothing, those who truly knew him gave him a greater title. The king who mastered himself. True power is not the absence of fear. It is the courage to face it and remain calm. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe my channel.